Hi, this is attorney Jamie Miller of Miller and Miller, and welcome to another Miller Minute. Today, we are going to discuss the federal student loan forgiveness program that was announced by President Biden in late August, or about just a week ago. And so far, what do we know about the student loan debt forgiveness plan? Well, we know that the program is going to forgive federal student loans, and it is not really going to have any impact at all on those pesky private student loans. Will Biden forgive student loans is our next question. And that's a big question. And if we look at the program at this time, it looks like President Biden's plan is going to forgive $10,000 in federal student loans for those that make up to $125,000 a year. There is a provision that says that you can forgive those federal student loans up to two if your income is less than $250,000 a year if you are married. People that have Pell Grants, so Pell Grants were granted to people that had great financial need for loans, dating back to undergrad time, and you can forgive up to $20,000 of Pell Grants. So a little bit different than the typical federal student loan forgiveness of $10,000. But with Pell Grants, it looks like people are going to be able to forgive up to $20,000 in those Pell Grants. Another question that many people are asking is what's going on with the student loan payment freeze, the moratorium that went into effect in March of 2020. If you remember, right when COVID hit in February, March of 2020, the White House invoked a moratorium on all collection efforts on student loans and froze the need to pay student loans. That moratorium's been extended many times. Most recently, it's been extended to expire at the end of August. The new program that was announced by President Biden last week now says that the student loan moratorium on payments will expire as of December 31st, 2022. I have a strong feeling that that is going to be the last time that the moratorium is going to be extended. Now, a word of advice: if you have any ability to start making student loan payments at this time before that moratorium expires in December of 2022, I would suggest that you make that payment. There's no interest during the moratorium period accumulating on your student loans. So any payments that you're making at this time is all going to principal, which in the end can help you get out of your student loans faster. So even though the moratorium goes to December 31st, 2022, if you have the ability to send in payments, I would encourage you to do so. Who is going to qualify for student loan forgiveness? Kind of talked about that a few moments ago, but it's people who make less than $125,000 a year or married couples that make more than $250,000. People who borrowed through most programs are expected to be eligible. Now, keep in mind, if you borrowed money prior to 2010, you borrowed federal student loan for student loans prior to 2010, you may have done that from a bank where the student loans were guaranteed by the federal government. It's very likely that federal student loans guaranteed by the government, even though they're not managed by the Department of Education, will be forgiven. So make sure you keep your eyes out for information on this. But at this point, it sounds like all federal student loans are going to be discharged. So there's all kinds of different federal student loans. So even though one's not managed by the Department of Education, likely will be discharged. Also, many people are asking, what if my student loans are in default? Again, we don't know at this moment, but even if your student loans are in default, I have a strong sense that your student loan is going to be forgiven. Now, how do you apply for student loan forgiveness? Again, that's one of the unknowns at this point. I would suggest that you keep your eye on the news, or keep that website studentaid.gov handy. I would check that out daily to kind of get updates on what's going on. That's studentaid.gov, a great website for information on the changes in the student loan forgiveness program. Now, how many people will this help? There's 43 million Americans that have student loans, which is incredible. The total debt of student loan debt's about $1.6 trillion, with the average borrower having about $38,000 in student loans. We don't know at this point exactly how many of those 43 million Americans are going to qualify for forgiveness. Now, understand, if you're in an income-based repayment program, the Department of Education, the student loan servicers probably have your information on your income and your income qualifications, because you've had to submit your tax returns. So it sounds like about 8 million Americans who have federal student loans may not have to do anything, because the student loan servicers already have your financial information. But again, it's critical that you keep your eye at studentaid.gov to see if you have to do anything when it comes to applying for forgiveness. I would not just assume you're getting forgiveness. I would take the steps to reach out to your servicer and see exactly what you need to do to qualify. One other issue that people are asking is, what if I already paid off my student loans? Will I still see relief? As we have right now, it appears that we're only going to be able to get rid of the $10,000 in debt for student loans that were incurred prior to the start date of the forgiveness program. But the Biden administration did announce that if you paid back $10,000 of student loans since March of 2020, you may be able to apply to get reimbursed for what you paid back up to $10,000. The next question is, will student loan forgiveness definitely happen? I think so. I don't know for sure. One of the concerns is that President Biden invoked the student loan forgiveness program based on an executive order. Now, whether or not he has the authority to do so via executive order is up for debate and up for challenge. Generally, it's Congress that has the authority to do loan forgiveness like this, but the president, under his executive authority, is moving to discharge these loans based on executive order. Will lawsuits start flying on this issue? I don't know. Keep your eye on the news, and for updates here, I'll continue to try to update you on information that we know. Now, we still have student loan debt. $1.6 trillion in student loan debt is a ton, and we're seeing people every day here at Miller & Miller that have student loan problems. And there's people on both sides of this issue. If you're a student loan borrower, you're really excited to get $10,000 or $20,000 discharged on your student loans. If you're a student loan borrower, you may say it doesn't go far enough. If you're not a borrower, you may be critical of this and say it's not fair for someone to have their student loans wiped out. I'm not here to get into kind of the political components of this. I just want to get the facts to you. But many will agree that forgiving $10,000 in student loans or $20,000 in student loans is not a solution to the problem of people increasingly having student loan debt, the problem of increasing education costs. So the $10,000, although it is going to give relief to some people, it's still going to leave people in a position where paying their student loans is a challenge. And that's exactly why we're here at Miller and Miller. You can call us anytime at 414-316-3555. We have different opportunities that we can present to you that can give you some good information on what you can do if you can't afford to pay your student loans. The other exciting news that came out of the Biden press conference from a couple weeks ago was that they're going to be changing the terms of the income-based repayment program. If you remember, the income-based repayment program allows you to pay back allegedly what you can afford to pay back on your loans based on your income. Previously, the amount that you could pay back maxed out at 10% of your income. Now it's going to change, it appears, to be at 5% of your income. So you could enter into an income-based repayment at as little as 5% of your income, which is something in this Biden program that could be really helpful. So I wanted just to throw out some information to you as quickly as possible. If you're still confused and a bit overwhelmed about these options, I know it can be really confusing. I just want you to know that we're here at Miller & Miller to help you. We have student loan lawyers on staff that can answer your questions at 414-316-3555. If you'd like, you can email me direct at jmiller@millermillerlaw.com. Happy to answer any questions you can have, or reach out to us through our website at milwaukeebankruptcy.com or millerandmillerlaw.com.